You might think you already know the Toyota Prius. You've seen it on city streets, maybe even judged it as just another slow-moving hybrid trying to save the world 1 gallon at a time. But what if I told you the 2025 Toyota Prius might actually change your mind? Not just about the Prius, but maybe even about hybrids altogether. Because this one isn't just smart, it's got style, speed, and a little bit of attitude too. So, is this the hybrid we've all been waiting for? Or just a prettier version of the same old formula? Let's dive deep into this machine that Toyota calls the most evolved Prius yet. And by the end of this video, I promise you'll either want to test drive it or at least argue about it in the comments. Let's start with something unexpected. When was the last time you looked at a Prius and thought, damn, that's actually a good-looking car? I mean, be honest. The old models were boxy, awkward, and focused more on aerodynamics than aesthetics. But now, the 2025 Prius looks sharp. It's got these sleek lines, a wider stance, and the new Nightshade Edition with blackout trim makes it genuinely aggressive. You could actually imagine someone pulling up in this car and turning heads, and not because it's silent and hybrid, but because it looks modern, bold, even cool. Yes, we're using cool and Prius in the same sentence now. But good looks only go so far. What's under the hood? Well, Toyota's new fifth-generation hybrid system gives this Prius a serious power boost, up to 196 horsepower. That's nearly 100 more than some of the early generations. Let that sink in. This isn't the car that makes you sigh every time you merge onto the highway. It does 0 to 60 in just around 7 seconds. That might not beat a Mustang, but for a hybrid with no plug and almost 60 miles per gallon, that's seriously impressive. Now here's where it gets interesting. This new Prius isn't just about speed. It's about making the hybrid experience feel, well, normal, or even exciting. You don't feel like you're making a sacrifice anymore by choosing a hybrid. In fact, it kind of feels like you're making a smart upgrade. And here's a real question. Why shouldn't you expect performance and fun from a car that also saves you money and reduces emissions? Inside, Toyota's stepped up its game in a big way. The cabin feels like something you'd expect in a higher-end model. There's an available 12.3-inch touchscreen that's super responsive, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and even an 8-speaker JBL sound system. Whether you're on a long drive or stuck in traffic, it makes the experience a whole lot more enjoyable. But it's not just about tech. There's real thoughtfulness here. Heated and ventilated seats? Check. Wireless phone charging? Of course. Smart key system, digital gauge cluster, ambient lighting? All present and accounted for. Toyota wants you to feel like you didn't compromise by picking the eco-friendly option. And it works. You sit inside this Prius, and it doesn't whisper sensible. It says, I know what I'm doing. The ride quality is solid, especially for daily drivers. It's quiet, composed, and the electronic all-wheel drive system gives you added confidence when conditions get messy. Whether it's rain, light snow, or rough roads, the Prius can now handle more than just smooth city streets. It's not a rally car, obviously, but it's not afraid to get dirty either. So by now, you're probably thinking this car sounds too good to be true, right? Well, let's talk about the downsides, because there are a few, and it's important to be real about them. First off, the back seat. Yeah, it's tight. If you're hauling tall passengers or using this as a family hauler, you're going to hear about it. Legroom isn't horrible, but it's definitely not a strong point, especially compared to some rivals. And if you regularly carry adult passengers in the back, it's something to seriously consider. Second, the cargo space. It's decent, but not incredible, especially if you go with the all-wheel drive version, where some underfloor storage is sacrificed. So if you're someone who frequently packs heavy for road trips or hauls gear, you might feel a bit limited. Third, there's the price creep. The top trims, especially the Limited and the Nightshade Edition, can get pretty close to $35,000 or more with options. That's a big jump from the base LE, and at that price point, some buyers might start looking at compact SUVs instead. The value is there, especially when you factor in fuel savings, but it's not a dirt cheap hybrid anymore. And finally, and this might surprise you, the interface for the digital gauge cluster. Some drivers have complained it takes a bit of getting used to. The layout isn't always intuitive, and depending on your seating position, it can feel slightly offset. It's not a deal breaker, but it's worth mentioning. Why Toyota didn't just go full Tesla with a clean center display setup, we'll never know. Now let's go back to the positives for a second, because this is where the Prius really shines. Fuel economy? An EPA estimated 57 miles per gallon combined. You read that right. And that's without a plug. No charging stations, no cords, just fill it up and go. For people who live in apartments, commute long distances, or just hate the idea of range anxiety, that's a big deal. And let's not forget Toyota's legendary reliability. Add in the hybrid system warranty, the battery warranty, and 2 years of complimentary maintenance with Toyota Care, and you've got one of the most worry-free ownership experiences around. But what really makes the 2025 Prius stand out is how far it's come from what it used to be. This car was once the symbol of quiet efficiency and almost nerdy restraint. Now, it's got swagger, it looks good, drives better, and lets you brag about fuel economy without sounding like you're preaching. So here's the real question. Is this the Prius that finally breaks into mainstream appeal? Or is it still going to be the go-to for eco-conscious drivers who care more about numbers than thrills? I'd argue it's both. Toyota's found a way to make this car appeal to people who used to laugh at it. And that's no small feat. Would you consider the 2025 Prius as your daily driver now that it's faster, sleeker, and smarter than ever? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Would love to know if this reinvention actually won you over. And here's something to really think about. If hybrids can be this fun, this good-looking, and this well-equipped, why are we still stuck on the old idea that they're boring? Maybe it's time to challenge that assumption. Because this Prius isn't playing it safe anymore. It's setting a new bar. And honestly, the rest of the hybrid world better keep up.